Hi, I am so glad you've ordered Maskcara makeup and I'm so excited to be your makeup artist. So I'd like to show you what to do when your makeup comes and how to apply your makeup. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the importance of cleaning your brushes. So for example, you may get this brush or this brush. It's just important to clean your brushes at least twice a week, 1 to 2 times a week to get rid of bacteria. So Maskcara has a brush cleaner called Restore. It does not require water. So as you can see, my brush is, let's use this brush. My brush is dirty. I'm going to spray a couple squirts on there and swirl it around on the paper towel, like so. And it will get clean and dry without water. And it has oils in it to condition the brush so your brush will last longer and feel better on your face, and plus it smells good, okay? So as you can see, my brush is clean and ready to use. If you use water and soap, then you have to wait for your brush to dry overnight and it's a big pain in the butt. So this Restore brush cleaner is amazing. Okay, so once your brushes are clean and ready to go, you're going to get your makeup in your box and it's going to come in tins like this. It's kind of like a 1980s lip gloss metal lid, and you're just going to slide it off and the makeup will pop out. Okay, then you're going to also get a case and then also probably your setting spray. And the way that I like to load my makeup in my palette, it's magnetic as well, is from lightest to darkest, or the order that I do my makeup in. So these are my 3 highlight colors I use, and they're in order from lightest to darkest. Then I have my contour next, and my blushes, and my illuminator and perfume, and my bronzer. And then on the bottom, I have my eyeshadows, and my powder illuminator, and my setting powder. Okay, so that's kind of how a different way you can set up, or a way that you can set up your makeup. If you'd like to do it differently, feel free, just do whatever feels comfortable for you. And you just magnetize them in. Now, these tin lids are handy, so you can keep a couple around, and they're so pretty, so it's hard to throw them away. But they can be used to pop out your makeup, like so. So you just take the edge of it and put it down in and pop that makeup out. Okay, all right, let's get started. So I'm going to, well, first things first, I did my eyes and my eyebrows and my eyelashes. So right when I get out of the shower, I just have a habit of spraying my face down with my setting spray that's SPF. And I kind of go 1, 2, 3, like that. And then I prime my lids, do my eyeshadow, put on my eyebrows and my eyelashes, and then I'm ready for my face. So in normal time, without me talking, putting my makeup on takes at the most 10 minutes. So give yourself, a good couple weeks to get used to this routine. It's a new makeup routine for you, so be patient with yourself. And before you know it, you'll have the hang of it, but practice makes perfect. Okay, so I like to apply my highlight with the small end of the blush brush, or the B-square brush is also what it's called. I pinch it tight like that, and then I wiggle it down into the makeup. Now, a little goes a long way with this makeup. You don't need very much. If you use too much, your makeup is going to feel oily and heavy, and it should not feel that way at all. Okay, so I'm gonna take that little bit, and I call it the one touch in the makeup and then stamp on your face. So it's going to stamp thin, and I should be able to get coverage for my whole cheek with just that one little touch. And then I'm just gonna go in circles and buff that makeup in. Okay, so then I'm going to touch it one more time and wiggle it around a little. And then I'm going to stamp it thin until, see, I can even I got a little more so I can move it over onto my chin. And then just keep stamping till it doesn't snap anymore, and then buff it into my skin. And as you can see, I'm getting really good coverage with just a little bit of makeup. And I'm putting a very thin layer on first, and then I can go back in and do heavier coverage on other areas if I need to. Okay, so now I'm just going to go in the center of my forehead. I don't need makeup up here because that's where my contour is going to go. So we don't need to do layers and layers of makeup. And then one more little touch for my nose. And, ooh, I almost fell off my stool. My nose and a little under my eyes to warm up that area before I apply my brightening highlight. Okay, once that thin layer is on, I know my areas that I need more coverage, which is right here where I'm starting to get some veins. So a way to get more full coverage is to take one tap in the makeup and then just stamp it on. You just stipple it on, don't buff. And you just keep going till that's blended in, and that gives you more full coverage. Okay, and then one more right here. And you just keep tapping that on. Okay, so now I'm going to work on my under eye area, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to my Best Blend Forever brush, the small end, and I'm going to add just a little bit more of that all over color under my eyes to give myself a little bit more coverage. I love using the small end of this brush. And then on the other side, just a little bit more. Now I take my makeup, tap it in there once and just get a little on there. And then I like to start by starting down at the bottom of my eye and then working it up. That way I'm not depositing a ton of makeup under my eye and causing creasing and making it look, making it accentuate fine lines. We don't want to do that. Okay, so that gave me some coverage. I want a little bit more for those bags under my eyes though. So I'm going to take my brighter highlight, which is called Linen, and I'm going to tap in there twice and start right here in the corner where I need that brightener, and then work it down along the shadow of the bag of my eye. So I'm not going to go all over, I'm just going to tap it in on those shadows where I need it. Okay, do you see that? And then I'm going to come down the side of my nose with the excess that's on my brush and then bring it down a little bit further, because this is called the triangle of light. And so we don't want to just put brightener right here, we want to bring it all the way down. Now I'm going to take one more touch and go on this shadow out here. Okay, see what that's doing, and then I might bring a little bit more in right there. Now if I'm extra tired, I can take just one little touch more, just one little touch. Look at my bag, and then just ever so slightly with a very light hand tap on the dark part of that shadow, and it will help it to disappear a little bit more. Okay, do you see that? We're not going to get this to go away. This isn't surgery or anything. Makeup can only do so much, but we're just helping to minimize it, okay? So again, in the corner, and then come down. Okay, and then a little bit more right here. Awesome. I might take another touch and just very ever so slightly tap that right there. Okay. Now if you're 20 or even 30, you probably don't need to do this, but as we get older, our skin has less elasticity under our eyes, and so we have to do a few little extra. Okay, so for your contour, you're going to either be using the Detail Hack, which is flat and small on one side, or the 30-second hack brush. I prefer this brush for contour, and I'll show you why in a sec. This brush is good. You can use this end for to apply your foundation or your highlight color, but I definitely prefer this end for your highlight color. And then this end can be used for blush and contour. And so I'll show you both ways. Okay, so the one thing to remember when applying contour is there's several guidelines. The first guideline is this is the bump on your ear and the corner of your mouth. If you draw a line from those to those areas, the contour should never go below this line. This needs to stay nice and bright. Okay, and if you feel your cheekbone, the high point where it's the highest is right here on me. And when I go down, right when I feel it curve in is where that contour should go. Okay, so I prefer, for people especially that are new to contour, to use the small end of this brush. Okay, there's my contour color. It's called Astoria. I'm going to swipe in it twice. Okay. And if you're new, you can even hold something on your face as a guide, just if you are feeling insecure about where to put it. Okay, so I'm not going to start back here and give myself a sideburn. I'm going to start right here, and I'm just going to draw a straight line down. Okay, easy enough, right? Then I'm going to have that straight line slightly curve like the shape of a Nike swoosh and point towards my upper lip. So it kind of hugs my cheekbone. We want that contour to go right under our cheekbone. See that? It's just hugging my cheekbone. Kind of like the same concept as a push-up bra, okay? So once I have that contour drawn in, I can continue to go over it a little bit with the small end just to kind of start to blend it out. But I want to keep it in that area. I don't want it to come down too low. I'm going to take the flat end of my brush and I'm going to flick up. And because it's cream contour on top of my cream highlight, it's going to blend together so easily. So you see I'm just flicking up, and I don't want to overblend because then it will blend our contour away, and the purpose of this makeup is to give our face dimension. So one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is that their contour is too light, which defeats the purpose of 3D foundation. Okay, so I'm not gonna stress too much about it being perfectly blended right now because it will continue to blend out when I put my blush on. But as you can see, I have it there dark enough so that it's accentuating my face. So if we contour down here, we need to contour our forehead. So I'm going to take another 2 swipes, or if you need 3, whatever you need to get enough on there. And because I have a tall forehead, I'm going to bring my contour down a little bit lower. If you have a small forehead, you kind of can just make a shape like this with the contour. The goal is to have a diamond in the middle of our forehead of light, okay? And everything else should be shaded in. So you can kind of like draw a line like that, and I'm going to come down a little bit right there. And then I'm going to fill in the rest and clear up into my hairline because we don't want to have a white stripe there. That would look silly. And then I'm going to flip the brush around and blend out that edge. You can also use this edge of the brush for contouring if you'd like by just dipping it in the contour and coming up here and buffing it in. And then you can also take this end at an angle, dip it in the contour, and just push it under your cheekbone. Okay, so that's also an option. Okay, so I've got half my forehead contoured. So now I'm going to show you the 30-second hack brush. Okay, so I'm going to squeeze this end like so, and I'm going to dip it in a couple times. Then I'm going to feel the high point, curve in, and once you get good at this, you won't need to feel, you'll just know right where to go. And I'm going to start stamping that on. So straight line down, and then have it slightly curve. Another rule of thumb is that you stop the contour at the middle of your eye. See right there where I stopped it? Okay, so then I'm just going to stamp and then flick up. Either brush is good, it's just personal preference. I prefer to have my clients that are new to contour use this. I feel like it's a little bit easier to contain it and keep it in the space where it needs to be. This brush is good, it's just a little bit easier to blend it down too low, but either brush is good. Okay, so I'm just going to blend out those edges by using a tapping motion. Okay, now I'm going to swipe in my contour a few more times and bring it along my forehead. And down the side a little bit. Okay, good. All right, so let's talk about nose contouring briefly. I'm going to not go into details. I'm just going to tell you the basics of nose contouring. I feel like a good nose contour, you can't tell it's been. Okay, so if you hold something skinny like this tinkle blade down the center of your nose, that's how thin that light spot or that light line down the center of your nose should be. So I'm just going to take the excess of the contour that's on my brush, and I'm going to come down either side of that tinkle blade. So I'm not using a ton of product. I just want this to look really natural. And this is going to help my nose look thinner. Okay, see that? And then I like, because the end of my nose is wider, I like to take a little bit of contour on the ends of my nose and just minimize it a little bit. Like so, and you can kind of make the end of your contour come to a triangle point. The key is not to have the contour come down right here. So if you have an edge, you just take the other end of your brush and just slightly blend out the edge of that. And then your nose is just ever so slightly contoured. Now I can even get a little fancy with my brighter highlight and come down the center of my nose with that brighter highlight, and that will continue to make my nose look thinner. Okay, so it just draws attention to the center of your nose. Easy. Okay, now let's talk blush. So today I'm going to show you how to apply blush with this Seint IIID blush. People can wear all different levels of intensity of blush. It just depends on how you apply it. So I'm going to take the small end of my Buffy, or not my Buffy brush, my blush brush, my B-square brush. And this is the same end I used for highlight, but I didn't apply very much highlight, so I don't have very much makeup on there, hardly any at all. And I'm going to squeeze it again, and I'm going to tap like 2 or 3 times in my makeup, and it's going to pick up quite a bit. Then what I like to do, as you can see my case is dirty, I like to just like tap the excess off right there. Okay, then I'm ready to go. So I like to start right above the contour, even on top of it a little bit, in the middle of my cheek. I don't want to start depositing that color here. I start right here, and then I go up, and then I come down. Now if I smile, see this is the high point of my cheek, my cheek when I smile. So I want to tap right there a little bit and then come up. And I'm marrying the contour and the blush together. And I'm keeping that blush out of the triangle of light under my eyes. So don't allow your blush to come up too high. And I just go back and forth like that. And then I flip my brush around to the fluffy end, and this acts like a perfector sponge, just a brush. And I'm just going to kind of like lightly flick the edges of my blush, and you see how quickly that blends it out? Perfect. Okay, blush is so important. Okay, so again, I'm going to tap in there. I'm going to just kind of like stipple it off on my mirror, or you can use a towel, whatever you want to use. And I'm going to tap in the middle and then come forward and back. And just ever so lightly tap in that range without coming up too high, and marrying my contour and blush together. And see how there's kind of like an edge there. So now I'm just going to take the other end of my brush that is so fluffy and light and blend it out. Awesome. Making sure that I have enough blush on. That's another mistake I see, is people don't have enough blush on and then their face looks kind of lifeless. Okay, so now I also want to show you guys how to wear bronzer. Everyone can wear bronzer, any skin tone, any time of year. It just warms up your face. So this is my bronzer. It's also cream, which is why it looks so natural. And I love it because it's the color of sun. It's not orange. It's just beautiful. It makes me look like I got sun-kissed at a ball game. So I'm going to tap in it a couple times. It's pretty pigmented and it's very foolproof. So I could deposit like a whole bunch on there and blend it out easily. So I'm going to stamp it on top of the contour, kind of in the middle of my forehead and along the sides of my face. Then I'm going to take one more tap and I'm going to come on the high points of my cheekbones so that it blends in with my blush. And as you can see, this is just warming up the sides of my face. A photo or a painting is more beautiful when it's framed, and that's kind of what we're wanting to accomplish with our makeup. So we're just warming up the sides of our face. So I just flip the brush around to my fluffy end and I'm just blending that out. Okay, can you see what that did for my face? This side is still pretty, but this is just warm, okay? And if you're more fair than I am, then you can just take less on your brush, like maybe tap in one time and instead of a couple times and just apply less. Okay, so right there, down the sides of my face and the tops of my cheekbones. Contour and bronzer are different. Contour is mimicking a shadow, So it's going under our cheekbones and on the edges of our hairline. Bronzer is mimicking the sun kissing our faces. So it's going to go in the middle of our forehead, the sides of our face, and the high points of our cheekbones right above our blush. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I've applied my highlight, my contour, my bronzer, and my blush. Now it's time to set my makeup, and then I will show you how to do illuminator. Okay, so on top of my makeup, I like to wear the non-SPF setting spray. I feel like when I use the SPF before and after, it makes my skin a little bit too oily. So that's a trick you can try as well. Just buy both the non-SPF and the SPF and do the SPF first to give myself that coverage so I don't get any sun. And then the non-SPF after. Okay. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, and maybe a little extra for good measure. Okay, you wanna make sure you use enough setting spray. And that should dry in just a couple seconds. Now the setting powder that I'm using right now is the Maybelline Fit Me. I take it out of the compact with a blow dryer, which I also have a video for, and it magnetizes into my compact. Other setting powders that are good are like Coty Airspun Translucent is good. Vanilla Dust is good. It's just a little bit light for me. I like a little bit more intense setting powder. So I use this all over. And then I get a little bit extra fancy because I'm older and I have lines and bags under my eyes. And I use this HD finishing powder, which is much more fine and it doesn't sit as heavy under my eyes. So, but you know, most people are going to be just fine using something like this or Vanilla Dust all over their face. And Vanilla Dust magnetizes into your compact as well. Okay, so I'm going to use the large end of my Best Blend Forever brush, and this is the end that I used for my under eye area. And I'm going to not use too much powder. I'm going to wiggle in and then just kind of press it into my skin. If you use too much powder, it might look fine in the beginning, but as the day goes on, your makeup might look cakey. Now you will see that once I set this makeup, it starts to mattify, and then I feel like that's where the magic happens, is it doesn't look quite so shiny. We do want it to look a little bit dewy because that's the beauty of cream makeup, but once I set it, it just starts to look perfect. Now, if you're just brand new to mascara makeup, your skin may need to acclimate to cream makeup. So make sure you give it at least 2 weeks before you, judge it fully. And when you first start using this makeup, your skin might look a little bit oily by the end of the day. If so, just remember that your skin needs an adjustment period. So give it some time, and before you know it, you'll kind of say, oh wow, I'm kind of noticing that my skin isn't quite so oily anymore. And so that's your skin adjusting to the makeup. Okay, so now I'm going to take my NYX powder, the small end of the BBF. I'm going to tap in it once, and again, I'm going to start down low because I don't want to deposit a lot of powder under my eyes, and then work it up. I feel like that's the best trick I've found for under eye area, is just to start low and then work that makeup up in there. So hopefully that helps some of you. Okay, do you see how that just kind of like blurs my under eye area? I love it. But I've also run into people that don't love this powder, so just find the powder that works for you and helps your makeup to look its best. Okay, the very last step is my favorite. It's the illuminator. So I'm gonna show you 2 different types. This is cream illuminator and it's got perfume in it. How cool is that? So I like to apply it with my finger down the sides of my neck, and see it's got a little bit of a tint to it and a little bit of a shimmer, but when you work it in, it goes away. And then it's like perfume. And you can apply it on your wrists. And I can also apply it on my face. So cream illuminator looks more natural than powder illuminator. Okay, so I'm just going to tap it on the high points of my cheekbones, keeping it far away from any fine lines. If we put illuminator on our fine lines, then it's going to accentuate those fine lines. Can you see that in the light? There we go. So it's a very subtle, soft illumination is it's so pretty with the cream illuminator. Okay, there's that. Now I'm going to show you my powder illuminator. This is Glamazing, and I'm going to dip it in with the large end of my Best Blend Forever. And I'm just going to dust it on the high points of my cheekbones and up along above my eyebrow. Oh my gosh, I love it. So pretty. Okay, you can even take a little bit of illuminator and put it on your Cupid's bow. And some people like to put it on the ends of their nose, but I don't want to illuminate that part of my nose. Okay, so then of course, as always, our lip and cheek colors, our blush colors can be used as lip gloss as well. So I love to use colors like Royal. It makes such a pretty finish to your makeup. Okay, as always, like I always say, I am here for you to help teach you how to use this makeup and get you comfortable and answer any questions you have. So please, you're never bothering me. Always message me with your questions, call me with your questions. You can come over and do your makeup with me in my bathroom, in the mirror, we can do it together. You can call me if you live out of state and we can do a FaceTime video to teach you how to do it. But just remember, I'm here for you and I'm excited for you to learn to love this makeup.